The Mini Cooper S is one of the most fun cars on the planet. It's fast, handles well, and basically if it doesn't excite you, then you should probably get checked out. Because you're probably dead inside. Obviously, there are people out there who are incredibly difficult to please, and that's why Mini is launching this, the brand new Mini JCW hatch, which it reckons can kickstart pretty much anyone's heart. What you're looking at here is the most powerful production Mini ever. A car that draws on 55 years of JCW motorsport heritage to deliver a hot version of a car that was already pretty damn hot. The styling cues are obvious. They've dumped the fog lights and added a vent to feed air into the intercooler, added bigger brakes, changed the rear diffuser, and added a big rear spoiler to help it look the part. So, is it exciting? Well, let's put it this way. If you are dead, then welcome back. Here's what you've been missing. So we're out here at Goodwood. What a better place to exploit this car's potential. And I've got to say, so far, so very, very good. Standard Cooper S. Well, this car uses the same engine as that model, but here it's got a bunch of tweaks to make it even quicker. So we're talking about standard car producing about 189 brake horsepower. This can do up to 230. And that means it goes like a bat out of hell. The 2-litre turbo engine can be hooked up to a choice of 2 transmissions, a 6-speed manual and a 6-speed auto. The manual lets the car do 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds, but the auto is quicker still. With the launch control active, it will let you hit 0 to 62 in 6.1, quicker than a Ford Focus ST or a Golf GTI. Let's talk about that transmission again. I know a lot of people say automatics are for losers, it's not real driving, but even though this isn't a dual clutch system, it's not a true manual, it does have a manual mode. One of the great things about it is you can leave it in manual and it will act like a proper manual. In other words, it will just keep on bouncing off the rev limiter if you happen to be driving like a complete lunatic. Let's talk about the handling, which Minis are world famous for. They talk about this go-kart feel that you get from the car. In other words, it's really agile. And the Cooper S is incredibly agile, but this supersedes it. This car feels so nippy, so quick, so eager to change direction that it's crazy. Cars with a short wheelbase have a tendency just to oversteer on you and snap, but this is inherently stable. It's actually really nice and you can feel what the car's doing. Some of that feedback comes through the steering, obviously, but quite a lot of it comes through the seat of your pants. And again, just feeling the car beginning to understeer as it dials into that corner. It's got a couple of electronic systems that help you out if you happen to be understeering, actually. If it feels like it's sliding too much, it will break the inside wheels and just help the car to tuck its nose in. And it does actually work really well. That system is part of a suite of electronic aids, including performance control, dynamic stability control, torque steer compensation, dynamic traction control, electronic differential lock control. So many acronyms, but they all work together to keep you on the black stuff and out of a hedge. All right, let's go back to the power. The power is more than enough. It's actually really good fun. I talked about the 0 to 60 times, but there's another figure that you probably should know about. 50 to 75 miles an hour happens quicker than you get in a Porsche Boxster. It's got a hell of a lot of torque, 320 Newton meters, and it really, really is easy to exploit that, no matter what gear you're in. Front-wheel drive cars can be a real handful to drive, but this is a piece of cake. Accelerate hard from a standstill using launch control, and it really does put the power down without any drama. Again, thanks to electronic systems. As ever, this being a Mini, there are 3 driving modes to choose from: green, mid, and sport. The green mode dulls everything. The throttle response is super lazy, and everything just feels a little bit geared towards economy. Mid mode is a happy medium between performance and economy, but where it's at is the sport mode. I just feel the slide there through the corner. That's good fun. Like I said, sport mode is where it's at. The throttle response is a lot more immediate. The car feels a lot more eager, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. Feel love. Feel love. Feel love. Feel love. Feel love. Feel love. The Mini JCW isn't strictly about hooning around on a track. You can have a really good time with it driving around ordinary roads as well. And it's at lower speeds when you start to really appreciate some of this car's other qualities. First of all, the interior is absolutely stunning. Some of the best interiors that I've seen belong in hypercars like the Pagani Huayra. And I know it sounds ridiculous to say that about a Mini, but this is kind of up there with some of them. Definitely, you look around this car and it's all multi-textured, multi-layered, the surfaces feel amazing, everything's kind of 3D and popping out at you. Look around it and you judge for yourself, but for me, this is like a car from the future. In terms of ride and handling, well, I know it's a sports car, I know it's very firm, and it can feel like your fillings are being shaken out of your teeth sometimes if you're on horrible, horrible roads. But for the most part, it's not too bad. It's not a million miles away from the ordinary Cooper S. Likewise, the steering and the accelerator, it's all very progressive, all very easy to drive. If you lend this thing to your mum, she won't have any problems whatsoever getting around town in this thing. My two favorite things about the interior of this car, well, number one, it's got to be the infotainment system. There's a big circular display on the dashboard. In old cars, that used to be your speedo, but nowadays it does a whole bunch more. It's your sat-nav, it's your radio, it's your in-car computer. You can tweet and Facebook from this car. There's all sorts going on here. Plus, around the edge, you've got this awesome sequence of LEDs, and the lights rise depending on what you're doing. So when you turn the volume up, the lights follow the volume to show you how loud the car is. Or when you're accelerating, it becomes your Rev Counter. Hugely impressive, hugely clever. My second favorite thing, probably the head-up display. You've got that in the Mini Cooper S as well, but here they've made a few tweaks. So one of the biggest things about it that's new is the fact that it has this big Rev Counter and the gear change indicator that show you exactly how many revs you're piling on and exactly when you should change gear. Now, some of you will of course have seen my Mini Cooper S video, the one where I accidentally yanked the gear stick completely out of the car. Well, you'll be happy to know that this, yep, they fixed that, much sturdier. If that had failed, it would have been game over for me. But yeah, with that in place, I think we're onto a winner with this. The Mini JCW is a special car, great to look at and bags of fun to drive. It's certainly not the ultimate track car. We'll have to wait for a Mini GP for total track domination, but it's a versatile hot hatch that will leave many of its rivals in the dust. It's a little less practical than some, certainly, but if you want a huge injection of fun, you need look no further than this. It's all new. Every panel, every switch, every engine has been re-engineered for the better. You're gonna love it. Except this bit, which I'll tell you about later, and except if you're a Mini purist that happens to think Minis should be small. In which case, you might want to get ready to change your opinions on what a Mini should really be.